Hi, my name is Tom Smith, and this is my case brief for Arkansas State University Sport Law course. The case that I selected was John Coomer versus the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. The background information: John Coomer was a Kansas City Royals fan. He had gone to about 175 Royals games. He was aware of all the traditions that happened at the ballpark. On this particular game in September 8th, 2009, it was raining and there weren't very many fans, so he and his dad jumped seats and sat 6 rows behind the dugout. On the other side, the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation slugger, as you see pictured down there in the lower right, he was their mascot. And between innings, he would launch hot dogs out of a cannon and behind his back and throw them to the crowd. He had been doing that since the 2000 season. John admits that he wasn't paying attention during this in between inning period and was looking behind him, talking to somebody. When he turned around, one of the hot dogs that Slugger had thrown hit him in the eye. He didn't report this to anybody in the Royals organization. In fact, he went to the next home ball game the very next day. 8 days later, he went to his ophthalmologist after having blurry vision, and he was diagnosed with a detached retina that he had to have surgery to fix. He then sued the Kansas City Royals organization for $20,000. The holdings. Number one, the mascot was not negligent when throwing hot dogs into the stands. Two, inherent risk was a matter of law. Three, matters of law should be decided by court systems and not juries. And four, a spectator's comparative fault is an issue for a jury to decide. The rationale for the first one: because this was a tradition, and everybody at the ballpark knew that Slugger was throwing hot dogs into the stands. He was not negligent. He was just doing his job. He didn't intentionally try to throw hot dogs at people. They also decided that the Kansas City organization was not negligent as well as Slugger's employer. Second, inherent risk is a matter of law. So the reason why this made its way to the Supreme Court in Missouri was because um, the previous court case at the district level, the jury decided that there was no inherent risk, and it wasn't their decision to make. Some things that are inherent: baseball bats that get thrown into the stand accidentally, foul balls naturally. Being hit by a flying hot dog is usually not an inherent risk. However, in the case of Kansas City Royals home games, all the fans knew what Slugger was doing. And then a spectator's comparative fault is an issue for a jury to decide. So, deciding which party was more negligent in this situation, the previous trial, the court made this ruling, and this was a ruling for juries and not judges. The significance of this decision: the Kansas City Royals and their employee Slugger, they weren't negligent. Slugger doesn't intentionally try to harm people, and the inherent risk should be left up to the courts to decide. I think that the Missouri Supreme Court's involvement in this case was due to the fact that it was a red flag that a jury had made a decision on inherent risk, and they shouldn't have been doing that. As far as determining which party was negligent, the Supreme Court maintained the jury's ruling that Coomer was the negligent party. they didn't have to retry that portion of the case. Things that I thought were a little bit unusual is that Coomer and his father changed seats. So if they stayed in the same seats that they had purchased, this incident wouldn't have happened. But that wasn't brought up in either the district level or at the Supreme Court level. Signs were posted, watch out for flying objects. That didn't come up in either of the court cases either. So, what can we do and what can we tell other organizations to do? We have to be diligent in placing signs. Here are 4 examples of some of the signs that you might see at a baseball game. Inherent risks occur at all levels and at all sports. Just because we might work at a high school or at a college, we have to be mindful of the potential risks. And then another thing that we can do to protect ourselves from the sports aspect is make everybody aware of the risks and try to minimize the risks. Try not to have things that might harm any of the participants or any of the fans at your games or contests. At Washington, one of our traditions is to throw footballs at football games into the crowd, throw basketballs in basketball games into the crowd, and we just have to be cognizant that everybody is aware that this is happening. We not only have it as a tradition, but we always announce that the cheerleaders are going to be throwing things into the stands. We have a cannon that we shoot T-shirts with, and again, it's always announced, and it's something that we do at most of our games. Here are the references for this case. And if you have any questions, you can email me at tsmith@wacohigh.net. I appreciate you watching this video, and I hope that it was meaningful to you. Thanks again.